Nobody was directed by Isla Nussschiller and stars Bob Odenkirk as Hutch Manuelson, a guy who lives in the suburbs with a wife, family, and kids. And one day when these two robbers take something of value to him and not only his daughter, he then goes to unleash some chaos. Now, when the trailer for this movie first dropped, when I originally saw this, I was kind of like uninterested for it. And that's because I've only seen like the first part of it. When I saw the full trailer all through and I saw those action scenes, I was like, sign me up. I love I love these old school revenge stories, but as many times as we get them and how repetitive and overdone that they are, especially now in the movie industry nowadays, I'm like a sucker for it every single time. Now, I've done a lot of research on this film when I came back home, and it actually turns out that the writer for this film, his name is Derek Kolstad. He's actually the person who actually wrote the 3 John Wick films. And when I was in the theater watching this with my dad, I went over to him and I said like, hey, this doesn't this kind of feel like John Wick just a little bit? And he was like, yeah, I was getting kind of like those vibes too. So we already knew something was up by this film almost being like a beat for beat John Wick film, because yeah, Bob Odenkirk's character, you have the thing that's most valuable to him, it gets taken from him. You know, he has to suppress his skills and not necessarily letting his family know of what he used to be before he met them and all this other stuff. The guy's talking to him, just like Willem Dafoe's character in John Wick was secretly talking to John about trying to get him back in the organization. So it was literally beat for beat John Wick. Now, that's not a negative with this film. I love John Wick a lot. I love all 3 films. I think I'm one of the only people that you may meet on YouTube that actually thinks it's one of the rare instances where we actually have a perfect trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. Now, with Nobody being a beat for beat John Wick film and me loving the John Wick films, what do you guys think I liked about this movie? Pretty much all of it. This movie was a blast, just like the trailer advertised. Now, this film doesn't necessarily do anything new. It doesn't really do anything necessarily too creative. I mean, in my opinion, it's a little bit more creative with the action set pieces than John Wick, because they get a little creative. Like, there's this scene in this movie, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it in the trailer, where he's just annihilating these guys in this room, and he takes like the box and he freaking shoots them with the gun inside of it. Man, all that is great stuff with this film. And on top of that, the only thing that differentiates this between John Wick and Nobody is, of course, the casting. And I really love Bob Odenkirk in this role. His performance is not only good, but at the same time, he does a really good job at portraying this sort of middle-aged guy, the average working class guy. They even show a montage of it in the film where he's literally just going through everything like a normal human being until that one night that his house gets broken into. Whether it's you have somebody like Keanu Reeves, who is really perfect and he's really precise about how he does something. This one, Hutch, he's a lot more vulnerable, and I like it how as much damage as he's putting out, he's also taking in. Whether it is you have Keanu Reeves, his John Wick, he's pretty much perfect. Now, the action for this film, you can really tell they went all out with it. Like, the action set pieces in here are all flawless, and they even have Christopher Lloyd in this movie from Back to the Future. He was Doc Brown. And I'm not going to say what happens, because I want you guys to go to the theaters and actually go experience it for yourself. The only thing that kind of holds it back for me just a little bit is the villain. Now, the villain in here, some people will say he's a little weak. For me, he's bland. He's the stereotypical generic stock Russian bad guy, just like we saw in John Wick 1, that is basically here just because we really need a protagonist. He doesn't really do anything to really show that he's intimidating. There is this one scene, but he never does anything like that really throughout the movie. So he's the only thing that if you go to this movie, you walk away, he's probably the only thing that's probably like, eh. But that's because everything around him and surrounding him in this film is all good. From the performance of Bob Odenkirk to the great action set pieces to this simple but yet very effective story, I'm going to give Nobody a 9 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what I should review next. See you guys in the next video. Peace.